Buongiorno, è con grande piacere che desidero introdurre Peter de Wilde, che è il presidente di NECSTouR. NECSTouR è il network europeo delle regioni sostenibili e competitive della nostra Europa. Stanno lavorando su tantissime cose, hanno un bellissimo progetto digitale a cui noi siamo molto affezionati e quindi grazie al Presidente che è qui con noi e la dottoressa Bigi dell'assessorato. Nice to meet you.
Morning.
Welcome, I'm Manuela Bigi, I'm working for Regional Government of Tuscany, the Tourist Department, and it's my pleasure to introduce this morning Peter de Wilde, President of NECSTouR, the Voice of Europe, and CEO of Visit Flanders. NECSTouR, as Mr. Tapinassi was just introducing, is a network, European network, made by European region that wants to support sustainable, competitive tourism development. So the association deals with the innovation, exchange of information and experience. So it's a place where people in Europe can grow up and create a better tourism. So Peter, please introduce us what is NECSTouR, what you are doing, and the main project that you are implementing within the association. As Tuscany region, we are of course part of this association. We are one of the founding member and vice president. So we are very proud to have you here this morning. Please.
Good morning, everybody. Let me first thank you, Manuela. Let me first thank Francesco for welcoming us here and for inviting us to take the floor in this edition of BTO. I'm going to start by admitting this is not my first time I'm in BTO. I remember one of the previous times I was put in a boxing ring with the audience sitting all around. It was quite an experience, and so I was a bit fearing what it would be this time, but it's a traditional setup, and there's nothing wrong with traditional setups. For those of you who are less familiar with NECSTouR, let me tell you that we are the community of European regions, and we are, as Manuela rightly said, committed to sustainable and competitive tourism. And here you can see a presentation of the organization. We are 45 tourism leaders around Europe. And for us it's crucial, and we found each other on a voluntary basis, I have to stress. We found each other in order to collaborate so that together we can accelerate the transition towards better tourism. And I have to stress the word better, and I'm saying this here with mixed feelings, because all around the globe we see that the race to back how it was is in full speed. People want to get back to the figures as they were before COVID, and that seems to be a kind of a quality measurement. If the figures are above what we had before COVID, then we are on the right track. I have to say it's not about getting more, it's about getting better, about creating better destinations that are performing better on quality level and that are giving quality experiences to people on a sustainable way, So the transition to a better tourism is really at the core of what the destinations that are working together within the NECSTouR network are all about. So we started by building, of course, a vision, and lots of our members already have that vision. And when we came together and we compared those visions, they were remarkably similar, which leads to think that there is something in the air now that really leads regional tourism authorities. And I do believe that it's on the level of the regions that this policy is the most fruitful and the most effective. Regional tourism destination management organizations are really thinking along the same lines. How to define success for our industry, for our entrepreneurs, for our SMEs, and for our people, and ultimately, of course, for the planet. And we cannot do this alone from our perspective. We need all the positive forces to combine. We need strong partnerships that we are building around Europe now, not only with government players, but also with the academics, also with enterprises themselves, with the European Commission. We are strongly working with the Commission also in several programs, and we are looking for partnerships every day. So if you're a representative for a region around Europe and you're interested in our network, please come and find us. We are here all day and tomorrow, so we will be here open for business, I would say. Let me also give a few words to Mariana. I don't know if she will hear, but I will say them nevertheless. We met virtually earlier this year in Paris, where we had our NECSTouR general meeting. And we had the pleasure also of exchanging views in our discussions, which concluded with a warm invitation to the Ukraine regions to collaborate also in the European network, because we believe that the Ukraine and the regions in the Ukraine also are part of the European experience and the European identity, to learn from each other also, from each other's practices in cultural tourism valorization, and in specific projects throughout Europe around cultural routes, for instance. They expressed also their interest in working on this topic with us to reinforce European citizenship, because this is also what tourism is about. It's about being proud to represent a region, represent, in our case, a civilization, our Western civilization, a European civilization. We need to be proud of that, because it also entails many values, democracy, working together, the right to private property, and so on and so on. These are values that within Europe we cannot stress enough. Equality between genders, sexes, races, creed, and so on. The equality principle is also fundamentally European principle within the framework of what we are doing, regenerative tourism. And as I was before, and that's the third slide I will have to present, NECSTouR, we have committed to a new strategic framework that addresses all of these challenges that we are confronting now, and the needs of European regions. I used to be president of the European Travel Commission too. Those are the national tourism organizations, but the national tourism organizations think along different lines from the regional ones. And again, the cities also think along different lines. So one of the challenges that we as regions, who are sitting in the middle of these local authorities and these national authorities, one of the roles that we as the region can play is bringing all of these different levels. We are in Italy, it's like a lasagna. We have different levels in tourism structure. We need to be the sauce. We need to be, the regions need to be the sauce that binds the lasagna together. So, and if this sauce is tasty enough, I do believe that our small and medium enterprises and also our citizens will feel committed to becoming ambassadors to their regions even more than they are today. So this is one of the important principles of our strategy in the tourism transition pathways, is also having a direct impact on the European tourism agenda, which is integrated in the form of pledges in our strategy. We also are a signatory of the Glasgow Declaration on Tourism. Suddenly there happened something happened with the microphone. It's a miracle. We're in Italy, so we're close to Rome. Thanks so much. It helps. So we fully underscribe the Glasgow Declaration on Tourism for Climate Action, and there's so many signatories of that declaration. It's impressive, but to look at the real concrete things that are being done now is less impressive. So we should try to stop talking and do acting. We should start acting on those principles, because everybody speaks about decarbonizing. What does that mean, decarbonizing? You have to find enterprises and you have to find destination management organizations that are really committed to making this work and really committed to share their intelligence and share their data. And this sharing data is something that we want to do here, but it's something that the BTO is also meant to be doing and is set up to be doing. So besides trends and inspiration on the online tourism of tomorrow, we are keen to gather also input to fit into our strategic pathways. It's all about collaborating. That is what the essence of the network of NECSTouR is about, to bring regions together, to bring enterprises together and start collaborating on these concrete pathways towards change. Change that also implies ourselves. If we want to change the system, start acting like the change you want to see. The governance of our organizations often is very bureaucratic, is often very theoretic. We have to be what I always call boots on the ground. We have to be working in practice them ourselves, even as officials, even as government representatives, on whatever level we might be. Go from behind your desk and talk to your entrepreneurs, talk to people on the field, and try to use the information that you have in your daily work, because it will only help you to give a reality check on what is going on. Often we are thinking about the implementation of things that people on the field are already doing. So we don't have to invent the warm water. We have to be open to discussion, open to intelligence exchange, and that is exactly what we provide for in the network. Another thing is, of course, balancing visitor flows. If we're talking about the last years, since 2015, 16, 17, every summer you see in the newspapers when there's talk about tourism, it's always in a negative sense. There's too many visitors here, there's too many visitors there. An overflow of visitors in some of our cities, and of course in Italy, we are in Florence, you know what that might mean. And it puts tourism itself as a process and also as a societal and an economical driver. It puts tourism on the bench of the accused. We don't need to be on the bench of the accused. Tourism provides ample opportunity for people to exchange. It provides many opportunities also for economic growth, but also for societal growth. But if you don't listen to your local inhabitants, to the residents themselves, how open they want to be towards visitors, then we are really putting dynamite under the basis on which tourism is founded, and that basis is called hospitality. If people don't want to be hospitable anymore towards guests who are coming, whether they stay a week or a day or a month or a year, then, well, we don't have a basis for an open society anymore. And that is also what tourism can contribute. So tourism is not a goal in itself. It's about creating balance between what the local residents are expecting, what the travelers want to find, what the entrepreneurs, what the businesses want to create, everything with respect for the soul of the places in Europe themselves. And that is what our strategy is about.
Peter, I stress just a couple of words that you said, that NECSTouR is an open network, so everybody is welcome. I know it sounds a little bit like a representative or marketing person, but really you can get a lot of being part of the network. You have the opportunity to share information, methodologies, good practices. So it's really a network that can give you some additional value if you're working on tourism. So we talked about NECSTouR. There are also people here taking part of the association, Galicia, Andalusia, Catalonia, which is Vice President too, Ile-de-France, the Vice President. So there are a lot of people today. If you would like to meet them, you will have the opportunity to do. But switching from NECSTouR and to coming to another point, we would like to take the occasion to have you here also to have some information about Visit Flanders. So what is doing Visit Flanders in terms of innovation, tourism innovation, and artificial intelligence, and so on? Because it's very interesting to learn what is going on in Europe and what's going on in the world. Please.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm not able to speak about Visit Flanders without speaking about the network, of course, because the strategy that Visit Flanders has developed, you might have heard of it, it's called Travel to Tomorrow. The strategy is really linking in with the strategy of the whole organization, of the whole network of NECSTouR. And we are really learning from our friends in other regions and becoming a better region ourselves because of the fact that we learn from their example. So I want to thank them all for providing us with that friendship and with the examples. But when you hear about Travel to Tomorrow, you might think it's about traveling into space, but that's not what we are thinking about. We believe tourism is and should be people-centered. There will be a lot of talk about artificial intelligence. We believe that it needs to be centered around people and not replacing people. So it needs to be really taking into account the interests of people themselves. With Travel to Tomorrow, we see tourism as that positive driver I was speaking about, not as a goal in itself, but as a way to help, a pathway to help destinations flourish and local communities flourish. And it's not a greenwashing of tourism that we want to do. It's a kind of form of greenwashing. It is really meant to open up to local residents and make sure that they are in charge of their own destiny and of their own destination. And if you think people-centered and you look at artificial intelligence, then you know that you have to keep balance between these two. So we are currently, in Flanders, we're currently developing 2 AI-based products. Allow me to explain this very briefly. Normally there should be a presentation with moving images and you know what it is, but we thought we only have a few minutes for this, so we thought it wise to give you the message. The first example is an AI-created travel route through Flanders, completely tailor-made for the traveler. It is what we call it our digital twin. So we are creating a digital twin in Flanders that allows us to already present a visit to Flanders to a virtual traveler that takes into account his needs. So it's an interactive web experience in which we ask the potential traveler about his or her wishes. Based on that, we create the AI automated travel route through which they will find authentic and original experiences in Flanders. Users are also invited to answer some relevant questions about their travel ambitions and travel profile, for example, with who they are traveling, when they are traveling, how they are traveling, which age they are, which needs they have, and so on and so on. Which passion that they have, because we drastically also changed marketing. The marketing is no longer about targeting geographical or socio-geographical audiences. It's about targeting passionate communities, finding communities that are passionate about, for instance, cycling in Flanders. You might guess that cycling is a passion. Beer is also a passion, of course, but you can't combine the two because that would lead you into danger. But cycling, for instance, is a passion. And the cycling community has fundamentally different needs. When they're really passionate about cycling, they have other needs than visitors who are only there just to shop or out of general interest. So it's really tapping into their basic need as a community, cycling passionates themselves. This is just an example of what we can do. And then we give the traveler the opportunity to provide feedback both via text and speech, and we combine the power of AI and GPT with the database provided and maintained by the experts, because I believe that the only real asset we have, the technology you can buy and develop anywhere, but the only real asset that we have as a DMO is the reliability of the content. We are providers of quality content, and that is what is also expected from a public player like a DMO to provide reliable content. So we believe that such an experience can increase the pleasure and the value of the experience of a trip to Flanders for visitors, but of course it will never be able to replace the the real thing. It can be inspirational, but it should never replace the real experience of coming to Flanders. So it is, let's say, inspirational, but it can also serve after the trip to make sure that your memories, instead of taking photographs, you can have a digital twin of your actual experience that you will be able to load up whenever you feel down or you feel sad, and you can literally walk down memory lane and revisit your Flanders experience. So that's the first example. And my second example is we are developing an AI avatar of the Flemish scientist Mercator. I'm aware that not many people here will know who Mercator was. He was a cartographer in the 16th century, but he was basically the guy who developed the angular map projection. In case you say, what? Well, the angular map projection is still used in navigating, also navigating in space, by the way. So he was he was really innovative. And nowadays we have a lot of innovative science in Flanders too. And we want to link that historic legacy to our current innovative industry in Flanders. So the AI avatar is exactly as recognizable as possible. And we are going to pay the attention to the small details. We know how Mercator looked like, but we're going to try to recreate how he looks. And visitors will be able to talk with the scientist themselves. The conversation for visitors with the avatar will happen on the spot and in real time. And the answers he provides are determined by the information we feed into the software. So again, it's about creating and providing reliable information, unique information that is correct, that is not about spinning things that are not true. For us, scientifically based information is not open for debate or discussion. It's not an opinion. Information is not necessarily an opinion, and there's a lot of false or fake news around. We want to provide authentic and real information, and that is what we are also about. So this means that we have control about the content instead of consulting all available and perhaps less reliable sources online. And the aim is, of course, that the technology we will create for this project can also be used for other applications and projects. For instance, for our program around the Flemish Masters. One of our famous Flemish Masters is Peter Paul Rubens. We created also an avatar, but that's still a test case. An avatar about Rubens, who, when you visit places that are attached to the life and the times of Rubens, for instance, the house where he lived, or this estate where he went to in summer and passed the summer painting the landscape. And you can talk to his avatar, ask him really into-depth questions, and he can give you a tailor-made answer. This is something that traditional websites, of course, as responsive as they might be, cannot do. And this is something that allows us to let visitors and heritage lovers have a conversation, or the feeling of having a conversation with the painter, with the artist himself, or with characters on the painting to learn more about the object or the history itself. So it's learning in an attractive and in a relaxed way. I think that's more or less what I wanted to say about these examples. We are fully aware, a few years back, we developed a new visitor center for the Ghent altarpiece, which is a spectacular work of the Middle Ages. But we use these Google lenses, and I'm speaking about 2018 now. That was spectacular for the period. So you wore the lenses, you were still in reality, but you could see added layers in the reality. We are 5 years on now, and already that technology, which in 2018 was so spectacular, now has become redundant by new evolutions. So I would advise anybody here who is contemplating of introducing very expensive technology in visitor experiences to really reflect well on what you're doing and not to overinvest, because the investment of today might be redundant the day after tomorrow. So really think about this. We only can spend that euro that we have once, so spend it wisely.
We are almost on time, so I'm just closing the session. So thank you a lot. I hope some of you will like to join NECSTouR. Just make some promotion about the association. And don't be afraid about your English, because as we have seen this morning, Mr. Tapinassi is talking perfect Ukraine. So you can speak perfect English without any problem. Anyway, in the association we have got also some Italian staff, some staff from other European regions. So the language cannot be any longer the problem. And so we are available for any other information. So again, welcome to NECSTouR in case you would like to join it. Thank you.
Thank you.